We have some Trey Hendrickson news, and no, a deal isn't done. Let's get to the latest trade report on Trey, who could certainly end up elsewhere before the start of the regular season 3 weeks from now. It's time to break it all down on Cincinnati Bengals. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you got to ring the bell for moments like this. A Sunday where Andrew and I didn't have anything planned for Cincinnati Bengals talk. It was going to be one of those Sundays where we didn't have news, and yet the drama, it continues. Because Trey Hendrickson, well, there's no secret that Trey Hendrickson wants to be paid. And the Bengals, well, want to pay him. They say that at least, but they've reached an impasse. And according to multiple reports, Ian Rapien, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, multiple teams are interested in trading for Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals are entertaining offers for Trey Hendrickson. And what month is it? This offseason has been unbelievably frustrating when it comes to the Trey Hendrickson development. And I thought he would be last in the pecking order of the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson element of it because he's under contract. But I also thought, and maybe this was me being the optimist, but I really thought they'd get all three of these deals done. And it felt like this week that things just hadn't moved forward. That was certainly a vibe I was getting, a sense I was getting in the building, was that things were just at a complete standstill, and that was that. And that's a real tough place to be in if you're Trey Hendrickson, because he reported for camp after 5 days of missing and has been helping with Jamar, has been helping with all these guys. And so where does this report come from? That's it. Like, obviously, it's probably coming from Trey's camp or other teams saying, oh, well, hey, they're entertaining Trey Hendrickson offers. And I'm going to get into like what it would take for this to make sense for the Bengals at this stage, especially. But at this point, it's August 17th. There's not many scenarios where trading Trey Hendrickson is going to make you better this year. And when I think back just a few weeks ago, before training camp, Mike Brown, 2 days before training camp started, Mike Brown making it clear that the Bengals had no plans to move on from Trey.
We aren't going to trade Trey. We're working to get Trey signed as we speak here. There are guys over in the office working to get that done. I think it'll get done.
That's about as confident as I've seen Mike Brown in one of those situations talking about contracts. He wasn't like that with Jamar Chase, has never been like that with T. Higgins. And they got those deals done. I thought that they would probably be able to get something done with Trey. Wouldn't have shocked me if it went into the start or of week one, not necessarily after week one, but going into that week, that preparation week. That being said, does this surprise you completely? It doesn't. It doesn't surprise me to the extent of, yeah, I knew that they weren't making much progress. I knew nothing was imminent. And it is wild. It's wild to think that 2 years ago, you have Joe Burrow, and that whole contract thing is lingering over the franchise, and they get it done. They agree to terms the Thursday, 72 hours before the start of the regular season, less than that, like 66 hours before the start of the regular season, they agree to terms. He signs the contract, hops on a flight to Cleveland. Well, that's a distraction. Last year, you have the Jamar Chase hold in. They're trying to get a deal done. It goes down to the wire. They don't get a deal done. He decides to play, but his heart really was torn about playing early on, and it distracts everything, and it becomes a real issue, and it impacts the field. Well, so does this. If this continues to go this way, and let's say they trade him, let's say they get something good for him, and I'm going to get into that in a second. It's a distraction. It's a lot. It's a lot to overcome. It's the elephant in the room. It's awkward. It's all of the above. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, it's a new defense, and you could try to sell you on all those things. You have Shamar Stewart, and you could go get this guy, and you could go get a pick, and it's August 17th. It's August. Like if you were going to trade Trey, the time to trade Trey was before free agency started. So 5.5 months ago is when you should have traded Trey. Instead, you hold on to him until now, and it's going to be really hard to get what you need for him. You could have cleared his cap space. You could have used that in free agency. You could have gotten that asset ahead of the draft or those assets ahead of the draft. They didn't. And so really dumb timing, I would say. At this point, you should have it set. Like Mike Brown said, you just heard him about paying Trey. And that's the other element here. I do wonder if some people in the building want to trade Trey or are open to trading Trey. But is Mike Brown willing to trade Trey? That's the real question here. I mean, he said it very black and white. We're not going to trade Trey Hendrickson. Things still happen in the Bengals organization, and then Mike says, no, we're not doing this, or yes, we can do that, or no, we can. Like, he still has final sign off on some of these things. He does. And so we'll see what happens with Trey. But it was interesting, Jordan Schultz reporting that there are three teams. There are three teams that are really have shown interest: the Panthers, the Browns, the Colts. Colts make sense. Lou Anarumo. The Browns don't really make sense, but who knows? You never know. And my goodness, can you imagine the storylines there? Week one, I don't think it would happen in the division. I mean, talk about a guy who's going to want the world. Mike Brown would want the world and then some for Trey if he had to send him to Cleveland. And then the other one, the Panthers. Okay, fine. Look, I never really thought when they gave him permission to seek a trade, I never really thought that they were in on that. I think that was a very much a strategic thing. Like, hey, go see what you're worth and then come back to us. But unless we get a haul for you, we're not trading you. So I don't think they seriously consider trading. And then I pretty much know that. Now, has something changed? Has anyone internally said, you know what, it's just, let's move on. Let's get rid of this distraction. Fine. If that's what's said, fine. Like, I get the logic. It's too late. It's too late. It doesn't make sense. You're going to have to really find the perfect deal for it to make sense. I mean, the Rapoport tweet, I believe it was. Yeah. The Rapoport tweet was about young players and adding, I'll read it. This will be expensive, likely a young player and a future pick if possible. A challenge for sure, especially because Bengals are a playoff ready team. Yeah. It's really tough to do. It's really tough to do because whoever's trading for Trey Hendrickson is trying to win now. So, like, yeah, would you do Trey Hendrickson for Jesse Bates straight up? Okay, fine. Well, is that realistic? No, it's not. Would you send Trey Hendrickson to the Colts, right? And you get a really high-end interior offensive lineman and Quentin Nelson. Like, those are the type of deals. Like Quentin Nelson, sure. A deal for Micah Parsons, sure. Jesse Bates, sure. You could see that, even though it's not like you love that. I don't think that fixes your defense, but I get why you would entertain that. I don't think those other teams are doing that. And so what young player are you going to get that you're really going to like? You probably want them to be on defense. You have a lot of young guys on defense. Are they proven guys? A proven guy you're trading for? Does that matter? Picks don't help you this year. Good luck selling to Joe Burrow. Hey, we got this draft pick for Trey. You better hope that defense is really good without Trey. Otherwise, Joe is not going to like it. And it is just unbelievable. It really is. I think that this does feel like, and this is kind of like the last element here. This does feel like that maybe Trey is like, all right, can we get this going somehow? And it's not like the Bengals weren't willing to listen to trade offers in the past. They were. But I don't think they were actively trying to trade Trey. I still don't really feel like that's it. And so maybe this is Trey's last ditch effort to try to get something and try to get something in place, knowing that some of these teams are willing to pay him and give him the guaranteed money he wants. Because that's the holdup, is the guaranteed money. I think from an average annual value basis, they're pretty close salary wise. I think they're years wise, they can come to terms there, but the guaranteed money they have been far apart on. And so maybe this is just Trey's camp specifically, trying one last thing. And maybe that's it. If that's it, and it's not the Bengals willing to trade Trey, I don't think he's getting traded. So A lot of thoughts there. It's really an instant reaction video and podcast here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. We're going to have you covered, of course. So please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and enjoy your weekend. Because if there's news, well, we're going to react to it regardless of what's going on. I appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien, and this is Cincinnati Bengals Talk.